You know what one of my favorite stats in the NBA is? Game score. And no, I don't literally mean the score of a game. I mean the actual stat, game score. It's basically a stat that it gives you a number that basically is supposed to determine how well you played in a certain game. They take all your stats from points, rebounds, assists, blocks, steals, turnovers, even your defensive performance, and they put it in this long equation that I don't care to show because who likes math, and it's going to generate a number basically determining how well you played. So for reference, the average performance would give you a game score of 10, and the highest game score ever was by Michael Jordan with a game score of 64. So yeah, I mean, that's the GOAT for you. So I thought it would be kind of fun to see, well, according to Game Score, what are the 10 best games of the last decade? So yeah, that's what we're going to do. Well, at number 10, we've got the two-time reigning MVP, reigning Defensive Player of the Year, Giannis Antetokounmpo, coming in with a game score of 50.4 against the Sixers in 2019. In this game, Giannis put up, casual numbers of 52 points, 16 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, a block, shot 57% from the field in only 36 minutes, so, typical Giannis things. The Bucks actually lost this game, though, so, maybe you don't value this performance as much as you should, but, you can't say it's due to Giannis' fault. He even hit 19 of 21 free throws. That's 90%. Giannis never makes that many free throws. So, yeah, the 10th best game of the decade according to Game Score, Giannis in 2019. At number 9, we've got, coming in with a game score of 50.5, so just 0.1 higher than Giannis, but still higher, we've got Dame Lillard. Everyone knows how good of a year Dame Lillard had. He had some historic performances this year, and this one being the best. This is the 9th best game of the decade according to Game Score. In this game, he put up 61 points, 8 assists, 5 rebounds. He had 3 turnovers, but when you score 61 points and hit 9 of 17 threes, your game score is going to be pretty high. And yeah, 9th best game of the decade. He finished 0.1 higher than Giannis. And the Blazers actually won this game by 3. I think Lillard might have probably hit some big shots down the stretch. I don't really know. I'm not watching the highlights of this game, but yeah, I can only assume what Dame did at the end there. And he had a few games that just missed out on the top 10 this year. That's how good of a year he had, but 61 points, it's hard to beat that. At number 8, we got one of my personal favorite players and performances of the decade, Carmelo Anthony in 2014. Carmelo Anthony this game, put up 62 points with 13 rebounds and shot 65% from the field. If you watch the highlights of this game, I'm surprised this isn't higher. He took 35 shots, and they were pretty much all jump shots, and he hit 23 of 35. That is insane. Combine it with his 13 rebounds, and this is really one of the best performances I've ever seen. The only thing that's holding him back, game score-wise, is, he had 0 assists, so yeah, that's kind of expected when it's Carmelo and when he's shooting this many times. On top of 0 defensive stats, so yeah, he pretty much got carried by his points and rebounds this game, but 62 and 13, that's hard to beat, and I honestly don't know if I've seen somebody this on fire in a game the entire decade, so I wish this was higher, but it's not. At number 7, a full point better in game score with a game score of 51.5 over Carmelo, we've got kind of a surprising one, I think, Jimmy Butler. I did not think a guy like Jimmy Butler would have the 7th best game of the decade, but according to Game Score, he does. He put up 52 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists to go along with 3 steals, a block, shot 62% from the field, 21 of 22 from the free throw line, and did Jimmy Butler things on defense, dominated on the defensive end. Now, maybe if you look at the box score, he doesn't have the points of a Carmelo. When you combine it with the other stats, like his rebounds, his assists, his steals, plus how efficient he shot it, you can see why this is the 7th best game of the decade and above Carmelo's. So, Jimmy Butler, not a guy I expected to be this high, but he is. Number 6 is the first of many James Harden games. So, spoiler alert, James Harden's going to be on this list quite a bit from now on. So, yeah, in this game, he put up a game score of 52.2, so almost another full point higher than Jimmy Butler. And he put up 58 points, 10 assists, 7 rebounds, got 4 steals, 50% from the field, 44% from 3, and didn't miss one of his 18 free throws. James Harden, James Harden puts up these numbers like way too consistently, I feel like. He has a few of these games a year, and yeah, you're going to see that he's on this list quite a bit in the top 5. So James Harden, this isn't even his best game, and it's what, I think we're on number 6 of the decade, which is kind of crazy. So hate on James Harden all you want, but he puts up some astonishing numbers, and they needed it. They only won this game by 3 against the Miami Heat. So James Harden, 6th best game. Well, would you look at that? I feel like we were just talking about this, because coming in at number 5 is, once again, James Harden. Surprise, surprise. This game, in 2019, he put up, 60 points this time, so he finally broke the 60. 8 assists, only 3 rebounds, but, he shot 66% from the field, 57% from 3. He had 8 of 14 from there, which is, crazy for James Harden, and hit 20 of 23 free throws. James Harden maybe didn't have the rebounds this game, but the points and the efficiency were way up. Plus, he still got 3 steals. Like I said, James Harden just does this on the regular, it feels like. And looking at the score of this game, they blew out the Hawks 158-111. So, yeah, James Harden pretty much sat the rest of the game. He put up these numbers in 30 minutes. Imagine if he played a full 37. Who knows what he could have put up, but, coaches never do that, which is a little sad. But James Harden, 2nd in a row, he's number 5. LeBron James finally makes an appearance, and he comes in at number 4. I honestly thought we would see more LeBron on this list, but I guess not. I guess LeBron, he's a little more passive sometimes, so I guess it makes sense. But in a game in 2017, he put up a game score of 53.2 against the Wizards, and, LeBron had just a casual game of 57 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks, shot 67% from the field, and hit 50% of threes, and he only took 4 of them, so he got majority of his points just driving and dunking on the entire team. So casual LeBron stuff. He had to do this because, God, I forgot how bad this Cavs team was. They went to the finals this year, and that's with an old Dwayne Wade who scored 3 points this game. So, yeah, this team was not very good. But, who was good? LeBron. And he was able to beat the Wizards this game 130-122 off, maybe LeBron's best game of his career, according to Game Score. So, making our way to the top 3 now, we've got LeBron's current teammate, Anthony Davis, with a game score of 53.9, just 0.7 higher than LeBron, but hey, that's a pretty significant jump. It's kind of crazy that these guys are teammates now, and this game, he was on the Pelicans when he did this game, but AD still does this stuff. In this game, Anthony Davis put up 59 points, 20 total rebounds, 1 block, shot 70% from the field, didn't miss a 3. That is absurd. Anthony Davis put 43 minutes because they needed all of it. These Pelicans teams were not very good, and this performance just squeaked them by the Pistons. So, yeah, I don't complain about AD getting out. When you put up a 59-20 game and barely beat the Detroit Pistons, that's kind of tough, especially doing everything AD does on defense. He basically put this entire team on his back. He played 43 minutes this game, and Anthony Davis and LeBron, that duo is just insane. They have the 3 and 4th best game of the decade, so AD at number 3. At number 2, we have a historic performance that I think some people would probably think would be the number 1 game of the decade, but no, it falls just short. We have Devin Booker's 70-point game in 2017. So, what do I really need to say about this game? He scored 70 points, shot 52% from the field, didn't shoot it great from 3, but, went to the free throw line 26 times and made 24 of them. On top of his 8 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals. He had a good game even without the 70 points. Tack on the 70 points, and, his game score just goes crazy. He had a game score this game of 54.5. Once again, insane. And he falls just short of number 1. And I think the reason holding him back was just because if his efficiency was a little higher this game, then he definitely would be number 1. But you combine that also with 5 turnovers, that brings down his score a little bit. So, just short, he falls number 2. The Suns actually still lost this game, too. They lost by 10 to the Celtics, and they were getting blown out earlier. And the only reason this game was within 10 is because Devin Booker scored 70 points, which is kind of crazy. So, Devin Booker, what a beast. And at number 1, you didn't think he'd be off the list for this long. James Harden, again, with the best game of the decade. 3 games in the top 5 is just casual for James Harden. That's kind of what he does. James Harden recorded the first ever 60-point triple-double. Yeah. Obviously, this game was going to be the best. And his game score was by far the best of the decade with 56.6. That's over 2 full points higher than the previous spot of Devin Booker. And it's actually the 4th greatest game ever, according to game scores. So, James Harden just putting up historic numbers. So, as for his stats, he put up 60 points, 10 rebounds, 11 assists, 4 steals, shot 63% from the field, hit 5 threes, 17 free throws. He just couldn't do anything wrong this game, and he was able to beat the Magic basically by himself, 114 to 107. I don't know if we'll ever see another 60-point triple-double. I mean, not only do you need to grab all the rebounds, get all the assists, you also need to score 60 points. So if one player can do it, it's James Harden, and hey, he's got the best game of the decade. Now, what do these numbers actually tell us? The answer? Absolutely nothing. I just thought it would be kind of fun to see, according to this, what are the 10 greatest performances of the decade? According to this, James Harden is just the best player really ever, but, we know that's not true, so take the stat of game score with a grain of salt. It's not perfect. You can debate who has a higher game, or should have had a higher game score. There are some great players that are not on here. LeBron's only here once. Steph Curry isn't here. Kevin Durant isn't here. Russell Westbrook in his MVP season isn't here. So, yeah, they had some good games, but none as good as these according to game scores. So, yeah, those are the 10 greatest games of the decade.